You had two SFP sisters. You also had an ENTP brother that came before you, but he was a fucking idiot. So hopefully you get it right, prehistoric Audra.
Yep.
Audra's like, all right, and you do pretty well. You hunt some stuff, you gather some stuff, do pretty good, and then you fucking die of hypothermia because you're a fucking sensing idiot.
You're like stout. You're like, all right, let me go. Catch some rabbits. You're like, oh, that was cool. And everybody's like, yeah, thank you. You brought us some rabbits. We need those. And like moving it up to something bigger. Usually, like probably like that's boring. I mean, before then eventually you're like wrestling cougars or something. I mean, it's just the infinite escalation that's going to get you.
Curiosity killed the cat.
Yeah, and the SJs are over there. It's like, oh, why don't you you're really good. Like, you built all these rabbit traps,
Why don't you just catch rabbits forever? And it's like, that's not how our evolution works.
Catch rabbits, You're like, no, I'm bored. Or, you have, like, your experimental spear, you're like, that may or may not work.
Your experimental spear. I could totally see a prehistoric tailor. Just like, all right, follow me, stick with me. This is going to work. And most of the times it does work until we go to fight a cave bear. And then I'm like, yeah, with Taylor, it's going to work. It's good. And he just comes running out. He's like, I underestimated. I just, like, that's it. Not even, I underestimated it. Actually, I take that back. He wouldn't even say I underestimated. It would just be run. Because he said that before. He's like, hanging on with the ENTPs is cool. But when we say run or get out of the car, that means it's time to go. Because whatever plan you had going on your head clearly did not work, and now it's time to foobar.
Yeah, it's like, if I can't come up with a plan, the NTP can't come up with a plan to solve this, we should probably just abandon the trip.
Then I'm sure probably INFJ's lucked out every now and again, became like seers or something.
You guys would probably be like the medicine man.
Probably. Although I could definitely see STJs being medicine men in some ways. Like, I mean, like ISTJs, like just sort of like going around eating shit. Just going around, try this, try that. How do you know what goes with what? It's like, well, my friend ate that. He died. I ate this over here. I was shitting for a week. I ate that over there. Pretty good. Works pretty well. It's crazy to think, too. It's like that information. Not everybody could learn that in one lifetime. So it's like oral tradition and passing that stuff down. The fact it even fucking survived. Holy shit.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like probably the ENFJs were running around eating the stuff, and the STJs were observing the
observing the... Yeah, right, now that I think about it. They probably stayed alive because they were like, leave the cave? Why the fuck would I leave the cave? Everybody else leaves the cave and they die.
Like, we'll just sit here and we will, observe those who are leaving the cave. And like I said, the ENFPs like run out and like eat things. Most of them die, but the STJs like get a lot of data off of it.
INFPs and INFJs come running back and they're like, there were elves in the forest. They told us to go that way, and they literally think that they saw elves, but really what it was is that was just a dream they were having because they decided to eat mushrooms. Because again, when it comes to sensing, they're idiots, and they were like, "Oh, that looks scrumptious." They ate some mushrooms. They had a trip. They thought they saw elves, but in their head, they did manage to put something together, which made them realize that if they were to relocate over there, they'd be able to get more food. So in their head, they're thinking that the elves told them to go over there, when really it was their unconscious. So basically, I think I'm blaming my own type for the religion we find today. Because it's like, let's say group relocates over there, and guess what? Life over there is better. They find a food source. They realize that, hey, it's more defensible over here. It must be the elves. Let's pray to the elves. So yeah, basically, I apologize on behalf of INFJ kind for starting what SJs would eventually perpetrate.
There you go, yeah. They're like, well, it makes that's the pieces seem to fit that way. So they're like, all right, let's do this.
Seems like. Oh, what was that?
Oh, nothing. I was gonna ending a ramble. So whatever you guys say, probably more fun.
I was gonna say, from what I've learned, it seems like once people started locating around like solid food sources, like replenishable ones, like rivers that had fish coming through it or stuff like that, that's when they started getting all feisty and ready to go fight club over shit. Before it's like, yeah, let's share. I mean, it's like it's difficult to find stuff anyway. Then it's like, oh, we found stuff. Oh shit, those people across the valley, they know that we found stuff, and now they're going to have some of our stuff. There's only enough stuff for us. This is good stuff. You don't find stuff like this. This isn't like everyday normal stuff, but they're coming for our stuff because they know that we got stuff. So when they get here, we will kill them. And then we'll take whatever stuff they have, and then we'll have more stuff.
And also boredom.
And that's one of the things too, is it's like you hear all this, like all these things about how it's like mankind's greedy and all this different stuff, and I'm like, but it's born out of something. It's like our older ancestors. It's not just because we're, blackened souls just from the get go, and like we're damned in some way. It's there was like parents way back when saw a bunch of their kids die, wouldn't be able to feed family members, people died, like they kept losing people, then they finally find something worth keeping, they find an area where they can actually raise a family, they can actually enjoy things, and some fuckers come rolling up over the hill being like, oh hey, what you got there? They think about their family, they look at those fuckers rolling up over the hill, and they make a very quick and understandable decision, which is us versus them.
Yep. I'm just still imagining like ancient EATP, invention attempts. Figured some of them also died because they like had this bright idea to like set some sort of trap or thing, but it probably caught people. What? Like, why would you do this? And you're like, well, it seemed like a good idea last night.
I wonder in what time periods, what types succeeded the most in politics. It's like who do you think dominated in ancient Rome?
I don't know. There's some theories that like some of these guys were. I can't remember which ones they thought were like ENTP on the road for the time.
Seems like a lot of
type 8s.
I think when you have those warrior philosophers, then yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, how'd you become so good at philosophy? It's like, well, I've been on the field of battle quite often. I haven't died. You learn shit.
A lot of time to think.
Yeah. That's the truth, probably, because it's like, you think about even like modern combat, and in some ways it's faster paced, but still, it's like, it seems when it comes to warfare, the two primary modes of warfare is either extreme boredom for long periods or very quick periods of just insane life or death battles. It's like, oh, here, we're marching for 2 weeks. Yep, marching, still marching, eating rations. And then, okay, for the next 6 hours, we're going to be locked in battle. And then back to marching. Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to imagine. I have a hard time actually imagining like ESTPs as like long-term conquerors.
Long-term conquerors? I'm not sure, but just imagine Alexander the Great in your head, and there you go. ESTP conquer. Conquered some shit and then died.
There you go.
There you go.
You know,
I think it's funny because there's a Facebook
I feel
group.
like there were probably some INFJs.
Conquerors?
Yeah.
Maybe. I was thinking more conquer advisors.
Maybe sometimes, but eventually they were just like, I could see situations where they're like, nobody else is going to do this. It's like,
I think I was
kind of pissed off eventually. But,
yeah. There's a group on Facebook that they like compile lists of different like famous types. It seemed like that they're like up there with the INTPs. Yeah, I was gonna say up there with the INTPs. INFJs seem to inhabit the philosophical realm quite frequently. But yeah, Casual just said Rasputin. Both Rasputin and Friedrich Nietzsche get labeled in that group as INFJ, as well as Karl Marx. I saw this picture. It was just a picture of Donald Trump, and it has the caption, "Grab him by the pussy." And then it has Karl Marx, and it has grab, and it translates it to seize. And then by the pussy translates it to the means of reproduction. And Karl Marx's head like lights up. Seize the means of reproduction. I was like, that's pretty good.
oh yeah.
Now we know Trump is a true Marxist.
Yeah. I feel like there was probably some ENTJs. Sometimes.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Well, I think of there was so much, there was like a lot of decadence in crowded Rome. So it's like, I figured there was a lot of ENTPs running around too. And it kind of like, he obviously stopped. I was thinking about medieval times. I think that's like a totally different kind of situation. The Dark Ages or whatever would be an interesting.
Grigori Rasputin. Yeah, I was reading about him. It's funny because in stories, it's like makes it sound like he got poisoned, but he still survived. And I was reading something saying that he probably didn't get poisoned. It's probably just the people who try to poison him with cyanide were fucking idiots, and they put it in the cakes and then baked the cakes. And when they baked the cakes, it baked out the cyanide.
Bad poisoning.
But then another story said that I think his daughter had mentioned something to somebody that it was highly doubtful that he ate poison because they baked it into like small sugar cake things, and it's like he had some sort of health problems that made it so that he wouldn't touch like sugar. It's like very unlikely he would have eaten that anyway. So they were probably like, "Would you like some cyanide?" He's like, "Oh no, thank you. I can't have sugar." And they're like, "Okay." And so they shot him in the back.
All right. I was reading one of the sites claims that like Catherine the Great was an ENTP. I thought that was interesting.
Catherine the Great. Catherine the Great. I'm calling it right now. Catherine the Great, probably sexual social ENTP. Or social sexual, I'm not sure. Either way, she was, she got around. It's really, being ENTP probably contributed to it just because when she decided that, I'm going to get around, probably became pretty much like a hobby at that point.
Yeah. Stay in charge of what she does. I feel like that sounds about right. Took a lot of stubborn and a lot of honor.
Well, I think probably in a higher society, to be honest, a lot of those dudes were probably very intrigued by. She was an ENTP, probably intrigued by a lady who wasn't so conventional.
Yeah.
It was just like, "Do you want to see my dead horse head collection?" And they'd be like, "Yes, I would."